Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? I hope you are doing fantastic. What's that? You're feeling extra democratic today and want to absolutely destroy some robots and bugs in the name of freedom? Well, I'm sorry to tell you. Well, that's not happening today, little Timmy. Or ever again. For those of you out of the loop, there's this massive game that came out as of recent being about 3 months ago, called Helldivers 2. Where you work for an overarching government and fight robots and insects in the name of freedom. Since launch, this game has dominated the gaming sphere. But sadly, overnight, communism won. Now, clearly this is a joke, but democracy did breathe its final breath essentially overnight. You see, Helldivers 2 was made by a company called Arrowhead Games, who had everyone's favorite party pooper as their publisher, Sony. As mentioned, at launch, Helldivers dominated gaming and everyone was playing Helldivers 2 across the globe. That was until Sony came out and slapped their dick across everyone's face and basically said, "Fuck you, get scammed, kiddo." You see, Helldivers was exclusive to PlayStation and PC, and now Sony has made it a requirement to have a PSN account in order to play the game on PC, not just PlayStation. Now, if you're like most people out of the loop, you're probably sitting there going, "Is that it? Make a PSN and you're home free, lazy bones." Here's the problem. PSN accounts aren't available in 69 nice whole countries. So anyone in those countries who paid the $40 for the game just lost access to the game and are now out $40. Now, ignoring the fact that I think this is technically scamming, to sell something to someone and take it away the next day after lying to them. There is actually a case of false advertising here. When the game came out, they said that the PSN account linking would be an option in the future, not a requirement, which made everyone shrug their shoulders and buy it anyway, since they thought it was an option. But now they said that you have no choice. They went back, changed what they originally said on Steam and everywhere else to say that it is required. Now, I don't know if this is just me not having a business degree, but I don't think you can advertise something as being optional so that people will buy it, then say after the fact that it is actually no longer optional, and if they don't do it, you're going to take it away from them. That's like me saying, "Hey everyone, I'm selling this product for $20. Buy it off me. There's no limitations, just buy it, you'll be fine." And then 3 months later going, "Ha ha, you fools. You actually have to sign up for my app in order to use that thing I sold you. And if you don't, I'm just going to steal it back from you." Ha, got him. Bottom line is this game should not have been sold in those countries that don't have PSN access. If Sony knew that they were going to require PSN access, I don't know what kind of business decision that was, but good job, Sony. You just pissed off a lot of people. And by a lot of people, I mean hundreds and thousands of people. I also want to clarify, if there's anyone to be mad at in this situation, it's our schizophrenic uncle Sony, not Arrowhead Studios. Some people made a point to attack the developers, but keep in mind, the devs don't handle where the game's being released. Their publisher does, which unfortunately is Sony. So what are the developers doing in all this to handle it? They're actually telling everybody to leave negative reviews or change their positive reviews to negative and to try and get refunds. They are doing this because they know that if Sony sees the backlash that they are causing, that they might have a little bit more leeway in the conversations to try and get Sony to back out of this absolutely horrid decision they are doing. Now, if anybody knows Steam, you guys know that Steam has a 2-hour limit on refunds. Well, here's the thing. There are people who have 90 plus hours playing this game getting refunds. And no, they're not doing any sneaky tactics or anything. Steam is just refunding. So even Steam is on the player base's side on this. And I think that says a lot given how absolutely annoying Steam is with their refunds. Now, if you are watching this and you just so happen to have the game and you want a refund on Steam, obviously, first time you ask for a refund, it will be denied because there's a bot that refunds it if you play under 2 hours. What people are finding is that if you ask again, that's when it goes to a manual review. and everybody's just getting refunds. Now, obviously, there's the little outliers here and there that are having a little bit harder time doing it, but overall, should be fine. Now, since the developers are actively on the player's side and telling people to refund and leave negative reviews, clearly they are completely on the good side, right? They totally wouldn't. Oh my god. Yeah, so about that, in a now deleted tweet, since I couldn't find it, so I assume it's deleted, the CEO of Arrowhead said that he knew 6 months in advance that this was going to happen and issued no warning whatsoever to the player base. Do with this info as you will, because clearly the devs are starting to break down and they have shown remorse and most likely couldn't say anything about it, which is probably why they didn't up until now. But still not a completely good look for Arrowhead. Now, as usual, some of the devs are being a little passive-aggressive with the response, as some of the devs have had a track record of not being too professional in their Discord. But overall, the CEO does feel horrible about the whole thing, and you can just tell from his responses and tweets that he is a broken man. After all, these people spent 7 years making this absolute banger of a game just to have Sony come and slap them across the face and ruin it virtually overnight. And when I say virtually overnight, I mean it. I think this whole thing was announced about 2 or 3 days ago, and it just now took effect after very short notice. So currently, anybody in this entire list that bought the game cannot play it now, and it's no longer up for sale. Now, there is a theory that Sony pulled this stunt in order to inflate their sales ahead of their earnings reports. This could very well be considered market manipulation, since their earnings from Helldivers will be on this report. They willingly sold this game to countries without PSN access, knowing they won't have access to it in the coming months, in order to inflate their numbers and sales. If you want, there is a Reddit post that goes deeper into this that I will link down below if you want to look at it for yourself and see the whole thing and come to your own conclusion on the whole market manipulation side of that. Sorry, I can't speak today. So feel free to check that out if you want. As of the making of this video, like I said, it has already been put into effect. All 69 countries are no longer able to buy or play Helldivers 2. Now, I'm not sure how refunds work on PlayStation, but since Sony is the one responsible in the first place for this whole mess, one can assume that Sony will not be issuing refunds and it might only be the Steam side of things, in which case everybody in those countries are not getting refunds. They're out the $40 for the game that they paid for and lost access to after only 3 months. Just this whole thing is crazy. Like, I don't understand how anybody thought that this would be okay. This whole thing would have played out a lot differently if they were honest from the get-go that this was going to happen. Instead of saying that it was going to be an optional thing, they should have just flat out stated that it was going to be required at some point. And then this whole thing could have been avoided. I do think that this whole thing also really played into the deeper issue that's been a thing lately of people not owning the games that they buy with their own hard-earned money. I forget who said it exactly, but I remember one CEO came out and said people need to get comfortable not owning their games or something of the sort, which caused a bunch of backlash, as you can imagine. And now here we are, about a month or so later, with this current issue of people spent their hard-earned money on a game just to not have access to it anymore. So I think it also plays into that really big issue that has been a thing lately. And it sucks, because I really hate seeing the direction that gaming is going in. I grew up a gamer. I was that kid who I'd be playing my Nintendo DS at 11 o'clock at night just to hear my mom coming towards my room, and I'll close that thing, chuck it under my pillow, and she opens the door and you hear Mario screaming from under my pillow. I love video games, and I don't see myself ever getting tired of it. But it is really sad seeing the direction that gaming is going in. With that, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit on that bell button. That's right. Don't hit it. Hit on it. I want you to seduce that thing. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.